Hey everybody, I want to do a live video here, actually first live video I've done on YouTube. We have a lot of videos on YouTube, but I'm going to try this as well, and maybe in the future we'll do more of these, maybe schedule them and use that as an opportunity to answer questions for people. I wanted to talk a little bit about anxiety and depression, as a holistic stress coach. And a certified in emotion code, body code practitioner. It's probably the most common things that people need help with. Young, middle-aged, old people. It's really an epidemic in our country, and I think it's a result of a lot of different things. I think nutrition can play a big role. I think social media and technology play a certain role in causing major issues with anxiety and depression. And the solution for it can be multifaceted as well. On one hand, what I do with clients is not just typically look at specifically anxiety and depression when I'm working with them, but I find it very helpful to look at people's overall holistic health, and to start working at overall where they're imbalanced, and if you form a good foundation for immune system, nervous system, spirit to body connection, how well connected people are to safe, different things like that, it creates a foundation to build off of. Typically what I find one of the main core underlying issues for people with anxiety, especially, is that people attach their value and their identity to their performance, okay? And your value and your identity is everything. It's what you're worth in life, right? And if you attach to your performance, actually really three things people attach to: how well they're performing, how people are treating them, and how institutions are honoring them. And as a result, you wake up in the morning and you don't automatically have a set fixed value in your life. It's up for grabs because you don't know how you're going to perform or how people are going to treat you or how institutions will honor you. And as a result, because of that, people can never rest and relax, okay? So one of the things energetically is not just to change your philosophy from, hey, I'm going to connect my value to God's unconditional love for me and let go of connecting my value to my personal performance or what other people think of me. That's a philosophical change. As a practitioner, one of my jobs is to track down energetically where that came into being. I just did some work for a young woman this afternoon, and a lot of it was energetically from being a very young age to at 5, 6 years old, there were significant energetic issues. She wasn't sure if she had done everything right to actually make her father like her at all, right? And this desperation to perform and to do things properly builds the foundation of long-term anxiety and depression, really. So one thing I do is I work with people to track down those underlying issues and reset them. The other very important thing can be as simple as this. If you allow a lot of guilt and shame into your life, in other words, using on yourself, using on other people, allowing other people to put guilt and shame on you, one of the things it does energetically for your body, it really messes with your liver, gallbladder health and your ability to receive, okay? In turn, impacting your liver, gallbladder health can also impact your ability to digest and absorb healthy fats in your body. And if your body isn't digesting healthy fats, your brain works on healthy fats. All of a sudden, your brain doesn't have the tools and building blocks to function properly. So a lot of times I will test people, can I absorb and digest fats? Can I receive in general? And if they don't, one of the temporary things while you work on the underlying energetic issues is to simply use a a fat enzyme. I often recommend one called by Enzymedica Gold called Lipo Gold. So use a fat enzyme whenever you eat something with fat, and also take a therapeutic amount of a very high quality fish oil. The one I typically recommend is Barley Swirl. So that's a nutritional suggestion that often works for a lot of people. One of the other things to do is, if someone's had an anxiety attack, it freaks them out, okay? And one thing it will do is, at the first ingredient of an anxiety attack in the future, it triggers people to change their whole physiology and emotions and everything to fear that it's going to happen again. And changing your countenance and everything about you to correspond with the anxiety attack is one of the biggest ways to actually start another anxiety attack. So one of the things that's very important if you're dealing with anxiety, especially if you're dealing with full-blown panic attacks, right, is to realize that the best way to change your emotions is not by using other emotions, but the first thing you want to do is you want to change your physiology, right? So in other words, if I've had a history of panic attacks, but now I have a new mindset and new plan of action, the first time I feel the hint of another anxiety or panic attack, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change my physiology to correspond to someone who's powerful, right? So for example, if I take the Superman pose, feet shoulder width apart, hands on my hip, shoulders back, chest up and out. Research says if I do this for 2 minutes, my testosterone goes up, my cortisol drops, right? So I'm taking on the physiology of someone who's powerful, who doesn't deal with anxiety and panic, right? And what I'll have is I'll have the corresponding physiology, the hormones and everything will start shifting as well. Newsflash, it's going to be way easier to walk away from depression and anxiety and panic when you have better hormones. Now, if I put on the outward physiology of someone who's powerful, then it's also much easier for me to start thinking along those lines. I had one woman I was working with, she would have 200 beat per minute heart rate anxiety attacks, put her in the emergency room, right? And we did a couple sessions and worked through some huge energetic things. She'd been adopted, did this, blah, all tons of stuff, right? And one night she texts me and she goes, I'm having another panic attack. I talked to my ex-husband, I'm freaking out. I go, hey, look, I got compassion on you, but listen, we've done enough energetic work. You need to stop what you're doing. You need to radically change your physiology. Go for a walk, move powerfully, pray, all this type of stuff. And she texts me later, she goes, oh, wow, that actually worked. So anyways, I hope this is helpful. Hope these are some practical tips you can do on your own to start working on this. If you do know how to do muscle testing on yourself and have any experience with the emotion code and body code, one of the very helpful things to do is to muscle test your level of consciousness regarding your willingness to be a victim to panic attacks and start working on the core beliefs that this thing has power and authority over you. Anyways, if you would like a further conversation about this, feel free to drop me a line. Happy to chat with you and work with you personally if you need to.